Hello, hello, hello. I am making a putty video with the pink putty and matching clothes and not matching nail polish, but that's okay. I just did a jealousy meditation. And it was not easy because Paul kept interrupting and talking to me. But that's all part of the meditation. So when we meditate, it doesn't have to be super perfect, like in some kind of monastery on a yoga mat with a singing bowl and total tranquility and quietness, temple type of serenity. No, it can be in your house. You could sit on your couch or recliner chair, and there will be noises, and sometimes there will be people talking to you, and you say peacefully, without anger, I am meditating right now on jealousy. Don't bother me. And I had to say that a couple of times with infinite patience. And that's all part of that meditation. See, that's how meditation actually works. It's a practice. Like everything can be practiced. The people in the chat room, they practice all day and all night long how to out-trick and outsmart other people in terms of being meaner, more aggressive, quicker witted, in a very aggressive way. So whatever you put your mind on, whatever you practice daily, okay, and non-stop, those people are non-stop doing this. They do nothing else to do. It's become some sort of a video game now, to outwit and outfast other people in the way they think and write and bully. That's really the bottom line. If you become real good at bullying, if you put a lot of practice and mindfulness into it, and of course that's driven by the ego. So I'm talking about meditation. Meditation is dissolving the ego. Is you sit with whatever comes up, if it's jealousy, avoidance. I have a lot of avoidance going on in my life. It makes my life miserable. It really does. The meditation instantly calms down my mind, my brain. I talk slower, without substance, okay? I did not even drink chamomile tea or take my Pierre Jardin. I didn't even do that, okay? Just from sitting there, practicing unconditional patience and love and kindness, and practicing calming down the mind. The blue god is there in the sky looking at me. It's beautiful. Beautiful clouds. And this feels really good. So I have a lot of avoidance. I try to avoid particles from other people. That was long before the pandemic. So the pandemic actually caters in an unfortunate way into my mental illness, into my avoidance. Now I have more opportunity to avoid with the pandemic. It's like, oh great, no, it's not great at all. Not at all. That's just getting away with twisted, neurotic act outs of constant avoidance. I mean, it's not a violent thing. It's not cluster B. It borders on cluster A. It can get pretty severe sometimes, but it's mainly cluster C, which is depression and OCD. Unfortunately, borderline falls into cluster B, but I personally don't view it that way. I have borderline, but I put only violent things into the cluster B group. That's just me, a psychiatrist will disagree with that. They'll put histrionic personality disorder and borderline into cluster B. I have a little bit histrionic. I try to not just conceal it, that too, or because it's embarrassing, but I really consciously work on that. So, and I'm always painfully aware of it, and so that's why I could never become someone who is a sleazy entertainer, where I'm on a stage and do twerking or something. I could never do that. My brain I would be so overwhelmed with feelings of awkwardness, and I'm not making fun of those people who do, really power to them. Really, I really mean it. I don't mean this in a sarcastic way. Good for you if you have that kind of self-esteem, and we should embrace our sexuality and our hormones and our physical needs of whatever we need, whether it is holding this putty here. It's a physical need, so there's no shame in it. In the same sense, there's no shame attached to something that has to do with sexual needs. So no, good for anyone who does some dancing and stuff like that. And I did. I mean, I was involved with this in LA, and I played in some porno movies. And I wouldn't do this now unless they wanna, unless it's some kind of, I don't know, it's probably would be a fetish, or I don't know, but because I ain't looking so good anymore. Okay, so I never looked very good in the first place, but that also has to do with my mother, with the childhood pain and all of that. And that really, the childhood pain, that can cause us some severe self-sabotaging act-outs later on in life. Severe. Anything from overeating and dork haircuts to certain clothes, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Kind of people we hang out with, all self-sabotage, obviously, So, and because it's better actually to not hang out with anyone than hang out with the wrong people. That's my view on it. So And all of this is part of life, part of existence. The jealousy thing and the avoidance thing, that has just escalated over the years. It just has become worse and worse and worse and worse. And I thought I had been healing certain things, and I think I have some, but the act out of avoidance, that has become worse. So, and then often I sit there and I wonder, has any of the therapy work that I have done in my life, has any of that actually helped? Well, that's a legitimate question to ask. So, for sure. Yeah. Because living with avoidance, avoiding people, in general, I'm not just avoiding violent men. That for sure, that's a red bar across for sure, Violent men are it's a complete taboo for me. And I have severe avoidance of any kind of party type of particles. It's like any kind of tobacco particle, any kind of whatever people do, alcohol particle, any kind of whiskey particle, any kind of drug, even pharma particles. I have to avoid it. I avoid it as much as I can. It's good too, but then it becomes stressful. So when the avoidance becomes irrational, that's when it becomes very stressful. It's very, very hard to live with. I'm very glad I'm open about this in my videos. It's not easy, but I think it is extremely important to be as open about these things as possible. And if everyone was as open as possible in their videos or in their conversations with other people, then the other people will suddenly see that person in the full spectrum, and they would no longer think that person is privileged or has it better or is somewhere happier or has more fun or whatever, So they'll see the whole thing. And then they don't have to feel unempowered anymore, because they see the other person is suffering too from childhood pain and stuff. And then we can understand each other better. We can develop compassion for one another. My sweater is stained, so that's why I have the scarf. It's all about understanding the other, not about forgiveness. Okay, I don't like that word, forgiveness. I made a video about this. I made a few videos about this in the past. Why I don't use the word forgiveness. Because it implies that I stretch myself out of proportions mentally to let someone else get away with something that's wrong. That's creating slave mentality, slave morality, according to Friedrich Nietzsche. He used that term, slave morality. Yeah. I call it unempowerment. Okay, so that's giving into unempowerment mind states. I don't want people to feel unempowerment. I want people to feel empowered. I remember at the center there was this guy, John, a strawberry farmer from San Francisco. We all had a crush on him, and he didn't like me. I had a big crush on him, and he rejected me. It was very painful, even though he was in his 40s and I was in my 20s. So he wanted a real confident girlfriend, real confident, and I didn't fit that picture. So I noticed a lot of men are like that. They want a real confident woman, and when they see me being not confident and having issues with depression and not feeling socially accepted, physically and mentally and intellectually, then it turns them away. They don't want anything to do with me. They want a confident girlfriend. So, but one thing that guy said to me that I kept remembering, I would go up to him and say, I feel in between the sessions, I feel so bummed out. I'm not loved. And then he would look at me and say, you want people to feel sorry for you, right? I'm not feeling sorry for you at all, he said to me. And actually, that was good for me to hear. I'm glad he said that. He said, Nicola, I don't feel sorry for you. You have everything you need. Okay? You have everything, okay, that anyone can wish for. And all you do is complain and whine and feel sorry for yourself. And you want everything just, you want the red carpet rolled out for you. So I don't feel sorry for you. He said it several times. And it was good for me. In that moment, I felt rejected. I felt unloved by him. I felt like he doesn't understand me. How brutal, But there was something inside of me that said, spot on. Refreshing. Yeah. Someone says, I don't feel sorry for you. How nice. That's actually empowerment. That's empowering someone. And I'll never forget that. And I implement that into my own approach to therapy. So for myself and for others as well. So, no, you are not unempowered. You're catered to. All of you. You're catered to. You don't have any idea how much you are being catered to. Okay. So some people get $4,000+ from the government. I don't have any income. I have to make the very best out of what I have. Felt like there were people in the chat room. They were impostering other people. I realized later on, it took me a while to realize that, because I'm not as quick-witted when it comes to bullying. So it took me a while to figure that out, and I was like, oh, okay, so they were all of these people that seemed so out of character. Those were the imposters. And they were actually, some of them were making fun of me, it seemed like. One guy was like, I got new socks. And then he kept saying that because no one was responding to it, to make sure that we saw that comment. I got new socks. I'm so happy. I smell good. I took a shower. I have new socks. I have new socks. How wonderful. And then later on I realized he was probably, maybe I'm just paranoid, but I kind of figured out what it was. He was making fun of me for being grateful for the rather banal things in life, you know. I have a putty from the Dollar Tree store, you know. And I'm very happy about it. It costs $1, right? I really enjoy this putty, right? Deep gratitude. I have deep gratitude for things, you know? For things that he takes for granted, you know. So he makes fun of me in a roundabout way with his socks. And so grateful for these new socks. Trying to make fun of me for being grateful for things that didn't cost very much, you know. So like I make a fuss out of this, like, oh, I got this new putty. Now I'm bragging about it. Maybe that's how he perceives it, like I'm bragging about this new putty or something. No, I'm not bragging. When I share something, there's always a message behind it for the world. The message is, let's be grateful for the things that we are getting, that are given to us from the infinite cosmos. Okay? Be grateful for that apple tree that's giving you the fruits. Okay? Be infinitely grateful to that apple tree that's standing there on the side of the road, and you can just walk up to that apple tree. That apple tree is on public property. You can just go up to the tree and you can harvest some apples and fill a whole cloth shopping bag full, or a backpack, and you walk back home. You eat the apples, and you should thank the infinite cosmos for that. Okay? But that guy, he makes fun of that gratitude, because he probably gets some kind of welfare SSI of over $4,000 a month. So while other people have to struggle to survive, working hard, he gets that, so he buys himself a Mercedes-Benz or whatever, you know, whatever he buys, real expensive stuff. And then he makes fun of someone who has gratitude for an apple from the tree or for this putty here, right? That's what's going on in the world, and I observe all of these things. They don't go unnoticed. All of that stuff. Was a guy on Facebook, Middle Eastern guy, who made a video, supposed to be some kind of message, positive message for the world, but it wasn't. It was just packaged in a supposedly positive message. The video was about this spoiled, rich, white girl who wanted the BMW instead of the Honda car. Then she goes out to her friend because she didn't want the Honda. Gave the key back to her parents. She goes to her friend and comes by a father and a daughter sitting on a park bench. And of course they were, it's the unempowerment theme. They were black, okay, and the rich kid white. So very, very stereotypical video. So the black father gives his black daughter a muffin for her birthday. And she says, "Thank you, Dad," and hugs him. That doesn't even portray reality. Okay, so, and then he gives her something else. He gives her a year pass for the bus. And she hugs him and says, "You didn't have to do this, I'm so grateful I don't have to walk to school anymore. No, I can take the bus." So the blonde girl behind the tree, observing them, felt bad now. Real bad that she was so ungrateful when the other girl is so grateful for the bus pass. So she goes back home, the blonde girl, and the parents give her the key to the BMW. And she says, "No, I don't want it, but I appreciate that. I'm sorry how I behaved. I will take the Honda. I realize I behaved wrongly." So, yeah, that overall is a good message. The problem here is the distribution of ethnicity. Okay, so that completely throws a wedge into this entire message. If they were all white, if everyone would be white, if the father and the daughter on the park bench too, then we can eliminate the disturbing variable of the unempowerment message, ruining that other message. Okay, so the never-ending theme of "you white people, you step on us like a rug," which is not happening. Okay, it's not even happening. It's being reversed. Okay, this is a reality. Okay, just very important to realize this. Very important to realize it. And of course I complained. I left a comment under that video on Facebook. I didn't get a response because I'm spot on. They can't argue against that. That's an unempowerment message. And I think that comes straight from the Muslim agenda, that video. They use market psychologists for this to they nicely, sneakily package it into some kind of uplifting message for the world. And the comments underneath made me want to puke. Yeah, so empowering, that message. No, it's not. No, it just rubs it in again and again and again. That unempowerment idea that the white person is somehow oppressing the black person. And the white people are all just spoiled rich kids. No, they're not. Okay, a lot of them live in trailer parks. You even use that word for white people. You call them trailer trash. That's what you call white people. And in the next sentence you call them rich, spoiled people. Entitled, privileged, white privilege. Make up your mind on what they are. Okay? Are they privileged or are they trailer trash? Make up your mind. So all of this hate and the hate crime against white people comes from unempowerment. Okay, so my message to you is empower yourself. Sit down on your couch and think about all of this really good. And stop listening to other people bitching and complaining about white people. Sit down and actually look at what's happening. Look at the big picture of all of this. You are not unempowered at all. You're not discriminated against at all. Sure that there are some racists on all sides, okay? That's not what I'm talking about, okay? The overall society, most people are tippy-toeing on eggshells around you. That's the reality of it. And naturally, that doesn't feel good either. I don't blame you for that. It doesn't feel good. But take a look at the big picture. Why are they tippy-toeing? Why are they handling you with velveteen gloves? Okay. Why do they roll the red carpet out for you? Because they don't want a riot. They don't want violence. But the more they tippy-toe, the more they cater to the people who feel unempowered, the worse the unempowerment becomes. And there's quite a substantial black community out there who understands that intellectually, and they're against affirmative action because of that. And they're on the side of the conservative side, and they're on the side of Donald Trump. Okay. And they're also highly educated, and they're highly intelligent. Okay. So they understand. So my message goes out to all people with this. You don't have to feel unempowered, whoever you are. So all of this endless perpetuation of historic catastrophes that are then perpetuated endlessly into the future. Why don't we learn something from our history? We learn from it. Learn not to get another Adolf Hitler. But people don't learn from it. They want another Adolf Hitler, this time in form of Islamic State. Okay. It's the same thing. Okay. The exact same thing. And then the unempowered people that complain about enslavement, they will let themselves become enslaved to Islamic State and the Muslim agenda. They just use them. And they laugh themselves to the bank with it. The Muslim agenda. They use you. They use your unempowerment feelings to get you really, really riled up to do their dirty work for them. Sit down in meditation and really think this through. Really, really good. Think this through. So, I want to make something. I'm putting this back. It's called Flarp Putty because it makes farting sounds. It's real nice. I love it. Okay, so very awesome. I love the way it feels. So I want to make a horse. What's this? I decided. And I want to use all three. I have two more. Another one in orange and another one in pink that I'm going to mix into this. But first I have to get this to warm up a little bit so that I can mix the other ones into this better. Make this really, really soft and moldable, and then I make a horse. And I want to talk a little bit about my favorite horse. I call him my enchanting unicorn. Okay. He is living not that far from us. Okay. We always stop by to see him, and we give him apples from our tree. He has his own apple tree, but he has already eaten all of the apples that are hanging relatively low, so he can reach pretty far. He has a long neck, and he stands about, I don't know, he stands about 4'5" or something like that, or 5 feet tall, something like that. Almost 5 feet tall. And a gorgeous, gorgeous horse, white and orange. And very, very intelligent. He is a young boy. And so he's eaten all of the apples that are hanging low, but the ones up high he can't reach. And sometimes an old man will go to the apple tree and shake some apples loose for him. And that is very nice. So, and I always kiss the horse on the nose, and I say, I love you infinitely much. And I'm infinitely grateful again for the infinite cosmos to give us this opportunity to meet the horse. It is a meeting at the fence, We are on one side, he's on the other side. He wants to get through that fence. He scrapes at the fence. He wants to go with us. Okay. And I would like to take him with us, but we can't. But I'm still infinitely grateful that we have this opportunity to meet the horse and pet that horse and massage his neck and his mane, and I even cured something. He had an infection on his face next to his eye, and I was worried about that. It looked, the skin didn't look good. It was like the size of an infection. So I put hydrated sodium bentonite clay on that wound, and I made sure to apply a thick amount onto it. And he didn't mind. So the next, I don't know, a week later or something, when we came back, and a week later, that wound was completely healed. And the clay had fallen off, and there was pink-white skin underneath. Completely healthy pink-white skin had completely healed up just from the clay. And then a couple of weeks later, we came back, and the hair had grown back, and it looked completely healed and safe and healthy. That area where that wound was, it looked really, really, really completely cured. And the horse was in really, really good, happy mental state and energetic, and that was really, really good to see the horse happy. And I love him so infinitely much. And the clay, the sodium bentonite clay, that is in the earth in some areas on this planet, many areas that has those sedimentation layers of sodium bentonite clay and other amazing clays too. Different clays, different sedimentation layers. For example, the Painted Desert in Arizona has many different layers of different types of minerals, mineral compositions from ancient oceans that have created this type of mineralization, and also volcanic ash mixing with ocean water created the sodium bentonite clay, which is millions and millions of years old. And all of these clays, they have very extremely high medicinal power. This information is covered up by the medical industry because the medical industry wants to hold a monopoly on people's health. Okay. Actually, on people's illness. That's what they're doing. They're extremely uncompassionate. They're extremely corrupt with that. That's what's happening. So I'm gonna make the neck and the head now. My enchanting unicorn. It's gonna be a little bit abstract, this horse, but that's how I always make my sculptures. They're a little bit abstract. And this Play-Doh type of material is also, it's a little bit rigid, and what happens is when it dries it cracks, but that's okay. I fill it in with materials that fill in those cracks, and then it looks okay, and then I can paint it. So, okay, I'm gonna use this one to add. Okay, I'm gonna add this one. I soften this up too. It's very nice. So, okay. It's not really, these are not the accurate colors of the horse, of course, but it's okay. I like doing this. This feels really good. So it's not easy, but I recommend to people to not run away from the emotional pain anymore. It is safe to meditate on it. It's safe. Completely safe. We can meditate on the emotional pain. We don't have to numb ourselves all the time and run away from what's going on inside of our brains. Hello. I wonder if this is even gonna merge very well. That is a beautiful, beautiful unicorn. So intelligent. He is so intelligent. He is such a lover. And he loves you unconditionally. He doesn't care if you have a wrinkle, or if you are a scientist, or if you are not a scientist, if you're educated or not educated. He doesn't mind. He's not educated either. Okay? He's not worried about that. He's not worried about winning an argument in the chat room, or being respected by the man cave. No, I don't care about the man cave. No. I care about apples. I like apples. And I like you if you have apples for me. I like you either way. Here's the wisdom bone on the head. That is the unicorn. And my dog Kenny looked like this. Great Dane. And he had that real big unicorn wisdom bone right on the middle of his forehead. That looked so good. I miss Kenny infinitely much. And the papa dog. And it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be dorky. There's nothing wrong with it. Most men have absolute terror. They're terrified of that. Of being like a kid. Being the inner child that they are. That they still have inside of them. But they covered it up with man cave toughness, to be respected by other boys or men, and they put this into such a high priority, and that causes such tension and so much pain and suffering. It's so unnecessary. You don't have to be tough or fit any of these male expectations. You can be soft and gentle too. We like that much better. Okay? You'd be so surprised if you could just allow yourself, to be the playful child that's still there. And if the other guys are mean about it, then walk away. You don't have to hang out with these tough men that are putting so much emphasis on. Yes, I'm gonna make the legs now. Put so much emphasis on toughness and all of this, all the male attributes. We women, we need to learn to be more tough. We need to learn to stand up for ourselves. This is very important. We need to be our inner child, the play kid, before the hormones started to kick in. There was a child, and that child is still there inside. The sapling of the tree is still inside of the tree. The real you, before the ego started to attach itself to the hormones and the identification with that, and then the society giving you these role attributions, roles that you are supposed to play according to those hormones and that identification. And then it becomes really, really, really a big, fat, chaotic neurosis that's so unnecessary, puts so much stress on us. But I notice the men, they have the most stress. They really do. So that must be awful, to be under that much stress, constantly worried that the other dudes out there could make fun of you, could tell you that you're not masculine enough. They call you names, they call you gay and soy boy and stuff like that. That puts a lot of pressure on you. Why don't you drop all of that? Like I said before, do the truth or clown method. And be you. Just be yourself. And wear that pink t-shirt. And have your hair long. When you have a beautiful mane, show it off. Enjoy that. That's not some kind of gender type of attribution, only reserved for women and girls. No, it's not. I always loved the heavy metal stars and the hard rock stars, Steven Tyler, with their long manes. I loved that. I loved men with long hair. Looks good. When you have real good hair, thick and even, and you don't have any bald spots, then you should let your hair grow long, really. Why not? Looks good. And there's nothing wrong with anything. So if people go bald, mainly that happens mainly to men. It's not nice, but that's genetic. So make the best out of it. Out of whatever happens in your life, make the best out of it. I have wrinkles. No, I can say, oh, this is frickin' scary. I need to see a plastic surgeon. Okay, oh, I gotta have that fixed. And first of all, it doesn't even fix that very well. It just makes people look weird. And it looks unnatural, and it's a lie. Okay? Plastic surgery is a lie. So that's my view on it. Whatever plastic surgery, for whatever reason they do surgery, okay, it's a lie. So I'm against it. This existence that we live is there for us to learn from. Okay? It's a school, and we need to learn from it, so that we make the best out of it. Learning to make the best out of every situation that we have. And so for us women, instead of freaking out over the wrinkles and the bags and the loose skin or the rings under the eyes, instead of completely going berserk over that, and wanting to smash the mirror. I've seen people talk like this in the chat room. Women, that are feeling so incredibly bad. And so instead of doing that, you need to love yourself. You put some natural skin cream with clay in it. You can make that yourself too. You put that on your eyes. You put clay masks on. You pamper yourself. You're your own nurse. You have to take real good care of your health. You can't drink alcohol. That just makes people sick and look bad. Okay, and it makes people look old, and drugs and all of this makes people look terrible. So that's not the solution. Okay, you have to become healthy. You have to become a whole food vegan. You have to pamper yourself. You have to be good to yourself. You have to eat diatomaceous earth every day, and kelp seaweed, and sodium bentonite clay, and other clays. Okay, for example, I started on a daily supplement now that I just get from the sedimentation out there in our own garden. Okay, it is a very dark reddish brown kaolin clay. And it's not just kaolin clay, it also has other things in it. It has bioorganisms in it. You don't have to be afraid of it. Okay, Paul Watson talked about it, and he said that we can get all of our B vitamins from that. And ever since I started on that, I started to feel a whole lot better. I had more energy. That is amazing, absolutely amazing. So of course you have to be careful where you get your bionutrients from. You can't just go in San Francisco anywhere with a shovel and dig that stuff up. It has to be in a very pristine environment. But you can go out of, if you're in a big city, you can drive out of the big city. You can go into a forest, or you can go to where there's a clay mine, where there may be a commercial clay mine, and you go somewhere further out where they're not digging, and you dig your own clay up. That also contains bionutrients, natural bioorganisms, beneficial bacteria that are in there, and that contain B vitamins, very, very vital, important B vitamins for us. And so I really recommend to people to take really good care of themselves and make the best out of it. So don't be worried about getting wrinkles. Don't be worried about this. I know it's very difficult. It's obviously very difficult. I can see how difficult it is for a lot of celebrities. Okay, I see them because they're out in the open. But they go through the same thing that we all go through. When we get older, it's very difficult. And I'm very infinitely grateful that I still have my complete hormones, and that it hasn't changed the hormonal output. So it still seems to be exactly the same. So but even if that changes one day, and it usually does when people get older, when women are over 50. So we need to not panic. We need to make the best out of that. You have to pamper yourself. It's very, very important. If you have a kind-hearted husband, hang on to that person. Whether you are romantically involved with him or not, hang on to that person, because that is your best friend, who supports you through all the difficulties. If you don't have someone like this, you can get someone like this if you This is the key here. If you accept the dork down the street, if you accept that one person in 10,000, if you accept that person who is not invited to the hot party of badass partiers and cosmopolitan, and he might not be, he's most likely not, okay? He's most likely a quiet person who is rather withdrawn, okay? So embrace that. What matters is trust, okay? That's what matters the most, more than anything, more than romantic. If something sexual evolves out of that, that's good, embrace that, be grateful for that, but that's not the most important thing. That's absolutely not the most important thing. The most important thing is that you feel safe and comfortable with that person, okay? It could also be another woman, if you're a straight woman like myself, and if you just embrace any friend, okay? It doesn't have to be a sexual relationship. Embrace any friend you feel safe with, okay? So that's really important. To have someone to live with, to work with, to take care of your dog together, and go shopping, do things together that are fun, That's what matters. That's really the most important thing. That's my message to all of you. I see a lot of women out there. They want that perfect man. They want that ideal, hot sexual relationship and all of this, and they will not settle for anything else. And so by doing that, they cause themselves to become very, very alone. And they feel rejected, and then they say, see, this is because of the way I look or whatever, No. It's not because of the way you look. Absolutely not. There are others that you can hang out with, and you can boost each other's self-esteem, and you'll be very surprised how much you can also improve how you feel about yourself. That's really the key in all of this, to improve how you feel about yourself. I've seen so many gorgeous women and girls that are so gorgeous. They should be so grateful, but they feel so ugly. And they say, you don't understand. And I've seen all of these. I was shocked how many women that are really gorgeous feel ugly. That's because they will go into a place, either chat room or party, or they will hang out at their schools or whatever, with the wrong people. There are tons of women that will try to make other women, particularly teenage girls, are real bad with that. They'll make the other ones feel real bad out of their own jealousy. So they make other people suffer out of their own feelings of ugliness and whatever. And they don't need to feel ugly. They too. Nobody needs to feel ugly. Okay? We're all precious. We're all beautiful. Like this horse. That's my beautiful, beautiful unicorn. Yes, and this is already cracking here. It's already cracking. That's okay, I can fix that later on. I'll pour some of that putty stuff into it. I have the specific I made a mix of acrylic paint and a caulking material for indoor remodeling. So, and that is quite strong, and I will glue this back together. So I like the real long muzzle. I like that. Kenny had that real long muzzle. He looked so gorgeous. So gorgeous. A lot like a horse. So a lot of people called him Horse, of course, on the street. And one guy called him Giraffe. Hello. So, okay, I wish you all the best, and I want to whisper in your ear. You are precious. You are beautiful, all of you. Girls, women, boys, and men of any age. You are precious. The haters, too. You don't even know how precious your body is and how much deserving of love your precious bodies are, okay? Always remember that. We all living beings, animals and humans, we are all infinitely and equally precious. Okay, always remember that. Be good to your own bodies and be good to all horses and dogs and pigs and cows and all living beings. Okay? You guys take care. Bye bye.